Good morning, Killian. How you doing today?
Good morning to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I have to remind myself you're in the UK, so your time zone is just a little bit different than mine. Well, before we get started, I gotta say thank you for your time today because it's been a lot more men representing their come up and a lot more and the majority of women are like, I don't know, I'm not trying to be on camera like that today. I mean, I'm on my bad side. I'm like, really? And I'm not gonna say any names, but that same woman will be at a wedding, catching a bouquet, acting all crazy, shaking that thing up and down, and all of her girlfriends and the wife or the bride takes out their camera phones, do it for the gram, girl. And then she's like, yep, that's right, hashtag that thing, So,
it was in the moment, that's why. It was in the moment.
So, message to the ladies, don't be shy. I want to hear about your come up.
That's great.
But back to you, Killian.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming. And it's a two-way street. I asked, you said yes. Right, bad side or good side or both sides. It don't matter. But for those that may not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Okay, so my name's Killian Wolf, and I write urban fantasy. And originally, I'm an archaeologist. I came over to the UK to get my master's in archaeology, and then I stayed here. And I did do some archaeology, and lately I have just spent all of my time writing.
So when did you discover that writing was your passion, was your gift? Was it, like something in the past that happened or just something you fell into? I'm curious about that.
So I think that I've always been a writer. My mother is a writer. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up with her always writing a story or working on a book. And she has published a book before. She has one romantic comedy and one children's book out. So I kind of always followed in her footsteps. I've always enjoyed stories. I've always enjoyed her stories, and she would read to me as a child. So I guess it's always been in my bones. I have always wanted to be an archaeologist. So that is a passion of mine, but writing has always just been the other passion and more of my hobby. But in the past few years, I've turned that hobby and turned it into my career instead. So yeah, I think it's always been there for me.
Well, I want to tell people watching how I met you. And sure. It all started with a friend of mine who runs his own social media company, and he said, well, Nate, if you're growing your Instagram account and your Facebook, you should also consider TikTok. And I'm like, I don't know what it is. I'll scroll through it, and I'm like, I still don't get it. So I got it now, but I didn't know how to use it for authors. And then when I YouTube TikTok for authors, your thumbnail with that yellow background with that that face that you look at after you get hit with a chancla. There you go. Like, what did I do? So after watching your video and then you do coaching as well. And I DM'd you on Instagram saying, hey, I thought your video was great. It gave me some idea of how to go with it and, pursue it. And TikTok is definitely a powerful platform. You got a brother named 420 Dog or something like that just rode a skateboard drinking Ocean Spray. The CEO of Ocean Spray took notice and bought him a truck, and that video went viral like crazy. So, so with that being said, when I checked you out on your website, I noticed that you do proofreading and formatting. And at the time, I was currently writing my mid-teen short novel that you're currently proofreading. And it's probably a good thing you are in the UK because all the corrections you did, I'm like, this girl would get a chancla on me if you were any closer. but that's how I met you then. So how did the coaching part come in? Because the writing part is one thing, it's a different field, but how did the coaching part come about?
Yeah, so the coaching part really is just, of course it happened afterwards. I'm a really fast learner, and I basically learn, through the school of hard knocks most of the time by doing everything wrong and then realizing, oh, wow, that's going to cost me a lot of money to fix now. So I took a lot of courses. I met a lot of successful indie authors. I went to networking events like over in London, the London Book Fair, and I just networked, and every course that they threw at me, I took. Every great book that had amazing reviews and a lot of success stories from following, I bought and I read. And I implemented all of the knowledge, and I'm still implementing all of that knowledge into my work, into my craft, into my marketing, and all of those different things. And from every mistake that I've made, I've turned it around to see how would I be able to teach it to someone else, to an indie author first starting out, so that they could not make the same mistakes and have to spend the kind of money that I did when I first started out. And then a friend of mine who is also an indie author, she said, she would always ask me questions, and how do you do this? How do I do that? How do I do that? And I always, I always help. And she would say, you should really charge for coaching because you're really good at explaining things, and you could probably turn this into a business and make this lucrative. Well, at first I was like, I don't think I am at the level yet where I feel comfortable charging. And after a while where I would have more questions being asked, people were like, no, I don't know, you have the answers. And you know what, if you are helping someone, no matter what stage in your career you are, you've learned so much already, just go, I think you should do it. And then after a while I was like, all right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna offer it for free and see how it goes. And that's how I started. Turns out that I actually love coaching, and this is just part of my experience now as an author, and part of my career is that I really do love helping other authors and sharing my knowledge on what to do.
What's the biggest mistake you see new authors make, or the most common?
Whew. Trying to do everything by themselves to save money.
Oh, yeah, you hit it right there.
instead of because I know that being an indie author can be expensive. So really what you want to do is lay out your foundation, write your book, okay? Give it a beta readers, and just save your money for everything else, because a really good cover from a professional designer will take you a long way. If your cover isn't up to your market, people just aren't going to click. Right. So whether you're doing ads or you're not doing ads and you're trying to reach people through social media only, you're not really going to gain a lot of traction if the product that you have produced does not look professional. Indie authors have a bad rap from the beginning. Well, we're not traditionally published, so we're doing it ourselves. Right, exactly. And really that is just the wrong way to see indies, because it's just not true. Right. I don't want to be traditionally published. I don't want to give such a percentage over the course of the years that they'll bind me into a contract to a company where I know that I could market myself better, and I know that I could receive the royalties on my own, and I'll give them part of my salary. So I do not want to be a traditionally published author, whereas other authors, they don't know. Maybe they do want to be traditionally published. Maybe they want some books to be traditionally published and be hybrid, and other books they do, they do themselves. We're all at different ideologies, different stages. So it does not mean that just because we weren't traditionally published, we didn't, make it. But anyways, I'm getting off topic.
No, you're on topic, definitely.
So a lot of readers, they don't know why, we're indies. And they might have a negative connotation associated with why they think that we are indie. So when they see your product, you don't want them to be like, oh, they're definitely self-published. No, you don't want them to tell the difference. They don't know whether you're self-published. They don't know whether you're traditionally published. They shouldn't care. They should say, ooh, look at that. I like that cover. I like that title. I like that blurb. Click buy.
And by the
You
way,
know.
you wrote a really good blurb on my book, so that was really...
I'm glad you like it.
No, it was good. It was good. I mean, I could have done it, but look at it. Take the credit. You went from modest. It was okay. No, I wrote the thing, so it was good.
I mean, it's a good blurb.
It was definitely like Mexican food or Cuban food, hitting the spot at the right time of night. Like 7:30 p.m. perfect timing, like right before the the hangry kicks in. One thing I noticed when I started building my Instagram following in April, right around the time the coronavirus came.
Right.
And I've got a couple DMs from people that said, I wish I could write a book. I liked your book. I wish I could write. I always had thoughts of writing, and I'm taking it as a sign maybe I should write a book. What advice would you give to those people that say they feel they have a book in their belly, but they just haven't regurgitated it, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I would tell them, like, you have nothing to lose. You don't know if you want to do it professionally, so maybe nobody's going to read it. So why are you scared? Just sit down and just write.
You never know if Oprah will read it. So
you never, you never know. And in that case, then you know that you've done the right thing. But
exactly.
until then, don't be afraid of the first draft. Don't be afraid of the blank page. Mm-hmm. Just start off with a statement or a title even. If you're like, I have an idea for a story, but I don't know where to start. Well, what is your idea for that story? Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be a complete sentence. This is your time.
Right.
This is just a blank page. No one else is going to read it. Just start writing. And it just happens that once you type and you break that little barrier, your ideas will just start pouring in. And then later on, you can go back to the beginning, delete that little synopsis, and and tweak it as you want.
There you go. Like for me to get going, I like a little music. Sometimes I do enjoy whiskey, just a little whiskey, just to kind of set it going. But I don't write a lot during the day. I mean, if I can get, on the low end, 300 words to maybe 600. If I get 1,000 words a day, perfect. That's when you're kind of writing, and all of a sudden the creative juices just flow out of you. It's like grandma in the kitchen just cooking, and don't even dare take the coconut out of the pot or the meat out of the pot real quick.
Not yet. It's not ready yet.
Not ready yet. Let me give it some more love. But what does Killian do to get her vibe going?
So I definitely have a writing ritual, and I also have a writing schedule. I like to do a writing sprint when I first wake up, because in the mornings for me, that is when I am most creative. So I don't even drink my coffee while I'm writing, because getting the coffee will take a while, and that just gives my brain enough time to start thinking about other things I need to do instead of writing. Right. So literally I have a glass of water and my timer. I have a little kitchen timer here. I won't even use my phone.
That is very funny for urban fantasy.
Chronos.
I would expect something else.
So owls and skulls on my thing.
I would expect a skull timer than that innocent bird.
I couldn't find a skull timer. Okay. But I do have like skull mugs, and I have a character that is an owl in my book. He doesn't talk, but he is there. Mm-hmm. So, and I won't even have my phone as a timer because it's a distraction.
That's true.
Messages or stupid game or whatever, So I have a timer. I set it for 30 minutes, and all I will do is write. Mm-hmm. That's all I'll do. And I will be writing on my current work in progress. And then after that is when I will probably work out, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And after that, then it's just shower, coffee, breakfast. Mm-hmm. And when I'm eating breakfast or drinking my coffee, I'm doing something, usually watching. If I'm taking a course, for example, right now, I'm taking Brian Cohen's Ad Profit Challenge, Amazon Ad Profit Challenge. So that's what I've been doing in the mornings. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I will do another writing sprint.
There you go. Before I ask you another question, I got a question before that. Writer's block is for real. How do you overcome it?
I don't believe in writer's block.
BS, really?
Really?
Okay, even I've gotten it, and sometimes if I ain't got it,
Yeah.
I just don't got it today.
Yeah.
But there's times where
So
it just hits you like in the middle of the night, and then I write it down. I've been better at when something just hits me in the moment, like make a note on my iPhone notepad, and then reference it later, then go back to it. But sometimes things just hit you later. So
I definitely have a notepad on my phone for when things like that just hit me. I even have a waterproof. It's a waterproof notepad that you can put in the shower, because the worst timing ever is when you can't just get out to write it down.
Oh.
Yeah, so
this is about it. Write it down for me.
Yeah, it would be too far. Yeah. But so I even have one of those, which is great. I really recommend them. They're called Aqua Love Notes on Amazon if you're interested. But yeah, love notes don't go on there. A lot of gibberish for writing does.
Aqua Love Notes. It sounds like a love note if you're writing the next 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, wait, to answer your question, so writer's block, so I don't believe in writer's block. The reason why is because I really believe that, I don't want to be yelling in your ear, sorry.
No, this is good.
So the reason why is because I feel like there's
Plus it's the Cuban in you, so you're always going to be yelling.
Oh yeah, I know, I'm always loud. I scare everybody in the UK. Everyone thinks I'm always mad.
I know, you can go to the other side of the ocean,
So I believe that there's a difference between lack of motivation or lack of being energetic and not having an idea. Now, if you're not having an idea and you're stuck there, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't write for the rest of the day, because there's somewhere else in your manuscript and in your outline that you could work on. Hell, you can even put the whole thing away and just work on a short story or whatever, in the meantime, because that way you are flexing your muscles.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, because writing is like working out a muscle. Once you get into the habit of doing that, you won't be getting writer's block very often. You'll just be feeling a lack of motivation and working on your project. If that's what you're feeling, then take a break, do something else, go for a walk, paint something, do something completely different, because then maybe you've stretched creativity way too thin and you just need a break. Maybe your mind just needs a break. Right. Then that's different. But actually not knowing what to write, I always suggest going back to your outline and brainstorm or choose something else in there that you can write. There's another chapter that if you're feeling motivated and energetic enough, those creative juices are just going to come out and say, oh, you know what? I feel like this character today, switch POVs or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I realized after I started, when I started my LLC and using it to be a publishing company for the mid-teen book, and this was a daunting task where, okay, now I'm going to do it on my own. Nothing against being published or traditionally published if you can, and you don't have the time to learn marketing and all the nuances that go with it. By all means, let them handle it. In my case, it was just like a stirring within me, like I would feel guilty if I didn't do it, and it was like I'm dedicating this book for my kids, so I think it's better to do it this way because the publishing company likes different genres. And then plus along the way met you by default of TikTok. So one thing I've learned with you is being an indie author. It's not just writing and put the book out there. It's like, okay, let's wait for the money to come in. I wish too, but there's I don't know how many millions of books on Amazon that are just uploaded. You have to learn some marketing, whether it be a social media, whether it be writing newsletters. You gave me some really awesome tips on how to target certain keywords that are, searchable, not super competitive, but just overall hit. And that was well worth the investment with you. So what tips and tricks or tactics can you shed on marketing if a future author who's out there watching, okay, I'll write the story, but the real work begins is when you're done with that story.
Start with a mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
it'd be great to start with a mailing list even before you have your first book out. And I know that that's really difficult because you're starting to think it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, it's like, well, okay, I can start a mailing list, but I haven't written the book or haven't finished the book. So what do I give them? Well, here's the thing. Everyone you bring into your mailing list, you want to give them something in order for them to join. So let's say you take a break of writing your book. And then in order to write a free novella or a free novelette on a character, or on a side character, for instance, of the book or series that you're writing, treat that book like you would any other book. Slap a professional cover on it, have it edited, give it a good blurb, all of that. And then what you'll do is you'll go over to, let's say, Story Origin or BookSprout, and they have features where you can upload your book in order to get emails. Okay, so you want to start doing that. So actually now they have read a book, and maybe it didn't take you so long to write because it was only 10,000 words or 7,000 words.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, so you have something to give them. So weekly or bi-weekly, however you want to do it, email them. Tell them a little bit about yourself, about your writing process, where you are at the stage of getting your first book out, and just if you can find the time to write a little short story or whatever to give them for free, that's great, but you don't have to do that. Give them Q&As, have them interact with you. Ask them, hey, I have trouble naming a character. Can you help me out? And see what they tell you, because what you want to do is you want to increase engagement. This mailing list, these people who are getting to know you, when you do have your book out, they are now more likely to buy your book than when you first get a book out and you say, oh, now I need a mailing list. And so you start getting people, and then you're like, buy my book because your book just came out. They don't know you.
Right.
So it really does help to start establishing relationships from the very beginning. Now, honestly, to do ads, you can start practicing with ads for your first book like I am, to start tweaking your ads and seeing which keywords work and those sorts of things. But it really isn't until you have at least 3 books or more out that you will start seeing a read through. And then that's when you start actually seeing revenue and see because you're spending money on book 1. Now you could have standalones and then you'll be making more ads. If you have a series out, then your ads are only going to be book 1. Yeah. So that to me is better.
There you go.
But it all depends on what you write.
Some people may say, well, that story's already been written. Okay, well, it hasn't been written by your voice.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so just people like different perspectives. I mean, it's not like there's a one personal development book, one all be all. There's different angles of it,
Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite social media platform to market yourself on?
Definitely Instagram and YouTube.
Okay.
But mainly Instagram, because the Bookstagram community or the writers community, the readers community in Instagram is huge. It's already established, and there's just so much room to grow and meet other authors and reach your readers on Instagram. Whereas with TikTok, because it was so new, now a lot of those Bookstagram people are going onto TikTok. So now it is actually growing and is being really cool.
Yeah.
But now Instagram has Reels, so they're kind of competing. So it's amazing how much it's grown with the stories, with the Reels, with the IGTV, and of course the regular feed. So just establishing a good community anywhere is great. YouTube, I'm very new in YouTube. I started in January of 2020. So that was like a New Year's resolution, and I have been doing it. Some weeks I haven't. This week I didn't post because I got way too busy with things, but next week there will be a video. And that's been going great. It's been a lot of fun, and I get to meet other people in the writing community. So
met me on
that's
YouTube.
Great.
So
and met you on YouTube and Facebook. I don't really get on there.
I agree. I will say it. You don't have to say it. I think Facebook sucks. Because you make a post, and let's say you have 500 people who follow you on your author page. You do a post. Facebook is like, okay, we'll only show it to maybe 50. But if you want all of them to see it, you got to do ads. Where at least Instagram, it'll show you probably a little bit more, but you have the hashtags. Right. And for some people who don't know, or for any future authors that may not know, you could do up to 30 hashtags. So then you expand your reach, and then when people share and forward or bookmark it, algorithm loves that.
But Facebook doesn't like all those hashtags, so you have to cut it down to at least 2, and I'm not even sure they're even going anywhere anymore.
No, Facebook was cool in 2008 when MySpace was getting out the picture.
Yeah.
You know, now MySpace is like that spammy grandma that you won't want to visit even if she gives you $5 for a kiss.
Is that still on there?
No, it's not.
I think Tom, whatever his last name was, I think he walked out with a lot of money.
I don't blame him.
Like, all right.
Yeah, Facebook wants to take over. Give me the biggest check you got.
Yeah.
But no, I like Instagram, and I think the organic reach on TikTok is insane. But also now, obviously, like you're talking about Instagram Reels, they're noticing people love 15-second content. But so whoever's going to decide to be an author, if they go the indie route, you might have to get used to being in front of a camera.
Being a little bit on camera, which is really funny because it was like so long ago. You know, like Charles Dickens never had to worry about being extroverted or being in front of the camera or being, you know, whatever, you know. And nowadays it's like, well, if you're going to be an author because you don't like to talk to people,
I'd rather just write. I just want to write. Well, now you got to talk.
Write.
Yeah, I got to be seeing now.
I haven't done too many TikToks lately because I just don't have the time to sit there and edit them and do the, you know, because you can really get lost on TikTok, and it's like I really need to be writing, you know. So that's the one thing that I wish I had more time to do, is make more videos for TikTok and for Reels or whatnot. But lately it's really just like it's a time crunch for me. So that's one negative. That's something that TikTok really has showed us is people love those really short video.
I don't know. Heck yeah. Think of TikTok like this. Think of like going to a restaurant and all you're going to say is like, I am on a strict diet. I'm only going to eat a few chips and salsa.
You eat the whole thing.
Exactly. That's exactly what TikTok is. It's digital chips and salsa. You can never just say, I'm just going to watch a few videos, 5 minutes. Before you know it, 15 minutes, you're like, oh no. You know, got the kids banging on the door, daddy, or something like that.
They're hungry.
They're hungry.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's dangerous. It's a time eater.
I'm joking. I keep my kids full. Public service announcement. But no, and then also YouTube is coming out with YouTube Shorts, and then we know about Reels, and
here we go, another videos.
So no, everyone is bidding for attention because they see the power of 15-second clips or short videos that just come in and come out. And then as for YouTube, I used to post more on TikTok, but once I started the YouTube and self-taught myself video editing, where I paid people to edit the first video. Right. Now, after I realized, why am I spending this kind of money to have a video edited where I could do it myself? Probably not as good as they can, but at least serviceable. It's time consuming.
Video editors, they charge a lot of money.
No, and it's time consuming. I mean, to edit a 10-minute video, unless you're just doing like a stimulus check update or something political where you just have intro music, your Instagram deal, you record a 7-minute deal, you probably only spend 5 minutes editing or something. Where if you're doing like music, mash, text, smash cuts, trimming, no, that 7-minute video can
audio clean up and all that stuff. It takes about 4 hours.
Yes, it could take you easily a couple hours minimum, you know. So no, but it's definitely, after doing YouTube, didn't have much time to upload on TikTok. But the good thing is it takes a platform to grow a platform. It's like this holy trinity of you know.
I'm lucky that my husband he's very techie, so he does the video editing for me. So I just record and then I give it to him, and then he takes like 4 hours.
Dude, the way he just told you, I'm gonna tell people this. I'm gonna put you on blast a little bit.
That's fine.
Okay, so when we connected on Zoom, I couldn't hear her, and I'm like, I know my audio is fine because I tested it out with a friend of mine. Her husband came in here with this fancy UK accent. Well, darling, just turned it on, and this right here.
And then it worked, and I was like, "What? I did that before. It just doesn't like me."
I know he made a statement of just turn the button on, but it sounded like an equation because it was
That's because he's an engineer. We're all good at different things.
Exactly. Is there any final words, message you like to say to anyone who's watching that wants to be an author or who is an author, or that's, any value that you can provide on your end?
Probably a lot that I could say.
Say it. People are watching, so the more you say, the better.
I think the best thing I could say, is just if you have a dream of being an author, just start with the first sentence and never give up. Don't compare yourself to other authors that you may read and be like, oh, I'm not as good as they are. No, I think the sooner you can learn what genre you want to write in, and that's actually, sometimes it might be like the most obvious thing, but it's really not, because it wasn't for me. It's like, I want to write in fantasy, but you know how many subgenres, subcategories and subgenres there are in fantasy? So it took me a while to realize that I am writing just naturally. I'm an action adventure person. I'm not really a romance person. I'm not, I like reading horror, but I'm not at to the point of Stephen King type of horror writer. So I'd
rather watch his movies than read those books.
I read them, I watch them, I love them, but I'm not a horror writer. I'm an urban fantasy action adventure writer. And once I learned that about myself, about my writing, it just clicked. Because now I know what books to read in my genre that will take me to market, that will show me what is needed for the readership in that market so that they can actually enjoy and like it. And the more you learn about your genre, the better you can write and market yourself. So I think nailing that down are the first steps. And then just write, just have fun with it and work on your craft, enjoy it, and don't worry about your drafts not sounding good or whatnot, because after that you can find developmental editors that can help you take your writing to the next level. And don't skip out on the developmental editing part. Every time you hire a developmental editor, it's like a mini crash course.
Right.
You're not giving them your book so that they can fix it all for you. You're giving them your book so that they can, with their professional eyes, take a good look through a microscope. And they're looking for certain things. They're looking for plot holes. They're looking for character development, each character development. They're looking for tone and voice, and if it's lacking anywhere. And everything they tell you, it's a lesson. Don't take it as a criticism into your ego. Take it as you're learning from this experience. So now the next time you write, you're that much better. You're that much, you've learned so much from the editing process. So now you can apply it for future books. And each time you do that, you get a little bit better and a little bit better. So just get the first book out, because you have to start somewhere.
That's true. And I've noticed quick, your first draft is never your final draft.
Definitely.
And I like to add, it got to the point where you write the first draft, you get it edited, you fine tune it, then you get it proofread by Killian, and you got to fine tune it again. And after a couple more rereads, I'm like, I am sick of my own flipping book.
Yeah, you get sick of it.
Yeah. And it's not because it's a crappy book. It's just how it is. You got to reread it, because once you put it out, it is out there. You know, it's not like a bad first date where you're in a bad mood and it's
anything that you're gonna reread and read over and read over and read over is, after a while, it's all gonna sound terrible to you.
Oh, heck yeah.
No matter what, even if it's the best thing you've ever written, you can psychoanalyze anything, any little detail, literally anything, So when you're actually psychoanalyzing your own work, it's going to become this like, monster. It's going to eat into, your thoughts and your ego and, and all of your doubts are going to get bigger. So sometimes just take a break, put it away,
That's what I do.
And then go back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. You pick it, I don't know, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
whatever. You said Stephen King does 6 weeks, right?
Stephen King I read his book on writing, and he says something about taking a 6-week break from his writing, and I was like, well, he's traditionally published and makes a lot of money, so I'm not going to take 6 weeks off.
No, we don't have that.
But what I am going to do is take at least a week.
Yeah,
and either write something else or spend the week reading or painting, because I paint or whatever, and then go back to it.
Wear many hats. Thank you again for your time, Killian. This was awesome.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on your channel.
Hey, no problem. We probably are going to do this again.
Sure.
All
Definitely. Right. Just let me know.